A whisper in an empty room? A book that flies from its shelf? The chilling feeling of being watched when you are supposedly alone. These are the classic signs of a poltergeist, the so-called noisy ghost. But what if the source isn't a lingering spirit from beyond the grave? What if it's something closer to home? Welcome to Infinity Cast, where we peer into the shadows of the unknown. I'm your host, Vesper Thorne, and joining me tonight to navigate the strange intersection of adolescence and the paranormal is the brilliant Bryn Sora.
It's a pleasure to be here, Vesper. It's a fascinating and deeply unsettling topic. When you look at the most famous poltergeist cases, Enfield in the 70s, the Rosenheim case in Germany, there's almost always a common denominator: a teenager, usually a girl, at the epicenter of the chaos.
Exactly, which leads us to a theory that trades ghosts for biology. It's called recurrent spontaneous psychokinesis, or RSPK. The idea is that an individual, unconsciously, is the one moving the objects, causing the disturbances, all fueled by intense, repressed psychological stress.
And what's more stressful than being a teenager? Think about it. It's a maelstrom of hormonal changes, social pressures, and emotional turmoil. Parapsychologists who support the RSPK theory, like William G. Roll, propose that this psychic energy builds up like pressure in a volcano. Eventually, it has to erupt, not as a shout or a slammed door, but as something else.
And that something else is where we get into the physics of it all. The human body has its own bio-electromagnetic field. It's faint, but it's measurable. The theory posits that in a state of extreme emotional distress, an adolescent's mind could somehow amplify that field. They could interact with the electromagnetic fields of the objects around them, pushing, pulling, and throwing things without ever laying a hand on them.
It's like they become a living magnet for chaos. The energy isn't directed with any intent. It's wild, erratic, and lashes out at the environment, which is why poltergeist activity often seems so random and nonsensical. It's not a spirit trying to communicate. It's a psychic scream made manifest.
Of course, the scientific community remains highly skeptical. These events are impossible to replicate in a controlled lab setting. The moment you try to study it, the phenomenon vanishes.
But isn't that part of the mystery? Perhaps the phenomenon requires that specific, private, high-stress environment to exist at all? Maybe the cold, sterile observation of a lab is enough to ground the energy. The absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence, especially when dealing with something that might be intrinsically tied to human emotion.
So the next time you hear a story about a haunted house, listen closely to the details. Is there a troubled teenager living within those walls? The monster in the house might not be a ghost at all. It might be the quiet, anxious child in the corner bedroom, unknowingly tearing their world apart.
It makes you wonder, what kind of power lies dormant inside all of us, just waiting for the right trigger?